Well, they did it. 2 weeks into the NFL season, and the Broncos have successfully ruined my life. The Broncos were playing Washington Custom Inc. at home after coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Las Vegas Raiders last week, 17-16. They definitely needed to bounce back, and they had a perfect opportunity at home playing a fifth-round rookie quarterback, making his first career road start, and the Broncos came out of the gate firing on all cylinders. They looked amazing on offense in the first and part of the second quarter. They were throwing the ball down the field. Marvin Mims was being used how he should be as a deep ball threat. Last week, he had 2 catches for 9 yards. This week, he had 2 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Broncos' defense looked great. They were holding the Commanders. They couldn't do anything. They were sacking the quarterback. They had 3 first-half sacks. And for a little bit, it looked like the Broncos were going to run away with this one. I let my guard down. That's on me. I, for some reason, believed that I could be happy. It was 21-3, and I started to think, all right, the Broncos are going to win this game. I have purpose in life. Up 21-3 early in the second quarter, and I started to believe. And that's when it all went to hell.
In closing, these stories have not been embellished because they need no embellishment. They are simply, horrifyingly, the story of my life as a short, stocky, slow-witted, bald man. Thank you. Oh, also, my fiancée died from licking toxic envelopes that I picked out. Thanks again.
It all happened right after the dirty hit by Kareem Jackson, which got him ejected. The second straight game that he took someone's head off. He's probably going to be suspended. He was fined last week, so he'll probably be suspended this week. And we also lost Caden Stearns. We lost another defensive player in this game, so we're getting really thin at the secondary already, and now probably losing Kareem Jackson to a suspension is not going to help. This really was the tale of 2 completely different teams in one game. As soon as we got the lead and got the fans involved, got hype, we decided to let's just, lose. The Broncos, who have a really tough schedule, play basically all the tough AFC teams, all the playoff AFC teams anyway, except for the Bengals and Ravens. Those are the only 2. Other than that, every playoff threat team in the AFC, the Broncos play. And they start out the season losing 2 straight games to 2 poverty franchises by a combined 3 points. The defense, allowing a 5th-round rookie quarterback to come into Denver against your supposed to be stout defense and putting up 299 yards and 35 points on your head is not a good look. Now, I know they got ugly as soon as we lost Kareem Jackson. We were up 21 9 because they scored on that play. But you cannot blow an 18-point lead to the Washington Custom Inc. Commanders. And I know it's early. I know there's 15 games left in this NFL season. But the Broncos now, they're in an early must-win scenario in Week 3. And it's a very tough place to go win. They got to go to Miami to take on the red-hot Miami Dolphins. Somehow have to contain Tua, which they could barely contain 5th-round rookie Sam Howell. So it's not the greatest feeling in the world right now as a Bronco fan. Down 0-2 to 2 poverty franchises before you even begin your tough schedule. And look, if you're Bronco fans out there and you want me to talk about the pass interference that was not called at the very end of the game, look, I understand that. Trust me. I'm upset about that, and it was blatant pass interference. Believe me, I'm upset. I went around and committed grand theft auto and arson in my neighborhood after the game because of the refs. Trust me, I'm upset about it. But when you blow an 18-point lead to a poverty franchise at home, what do you expect? They should have never been in the scenario they were in where they needed a game-tying Hail Mary and 2-point conversion after they led the game by 18 points. And that second-to-last drive that the Broncos had the ball, they used the entire clock. They got it inside of 2 minutes before they scored a field goal which they were by the 10-yard line, so they made it basically impossible for themselves to come back, got the ball back, and somehow scored on a miraculous Hail Mary attempt, one of the greatest plays that I've seen. But go figure, just like everything else for the Broncos, it's just so close, but not enough. Everything the Broncos have done is close, but not quite. Now, the Washington Commanders, they do have a good defense, so you got to give them credit for that. They have a good run defense. They got some good secondary players. However, so do the Broncos, and you allow a rookie quarterback to go in there, put up 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and you blow an 18-point lead in a must-win game. The Broncos got Jerry Jeudy back for this game too. Though you wouldn't know looking at the stat sheet, Jerry Jeudy, just 3 catches on 5 targets for 25 yards. Marvin Mims was the leading receiver with 2 catches on those 2 deep balls for 113 yards and a touchdown. The leading rusher for the Denver Broncos was Russell Wilson with 56 yards. I love to see the fact that Russell Wilson has 56 yards. I think that's a winning recipe for the Broncos most of the time. However, when he's their leading rusher, probably not the best sign. Javonte Williams, 12 carries for 44 yards, 3.7 yard average. And then Samaje Perine, just 1 carry for 4 yards in this game. I was really surprised about that. I mean, he was the leading receiver of the game last week. I really thought that he would probably have somewhere around 8 carries in this game as well. But here's one thing that's positive for the Broncos. We didn't miss a kick. Our problems are solved. Will Lutz went 2 for 2 on his field goals and 3 for 3 for his extra points. So let's celebrate meaningless tasks like making kicks, because that's all we have as Bronco fans right now. We can't win games. We can't score points and win at the same time. It's either we score points and allow 1 billion points, or we don't score any points and we allow 1 more point than we scored. It's a great time to be a Bronco fan. Hopes are so very high. I'm not depressed at all. The next 6 games for the Broncos before their bye week: the Miami Dolphins, at the Chicago Bears, at home against the Jets, at the Kansas City Chiefs, at home against the Packers, at home against the Chiefs. Then you have your bye week, and then you go on the road to Buffalo, then at home against the Vikings and the Browns, and then 3 straight road games against the Texans, Chargers, and Lions, and then 2 home games against the Patriots and Chargers before you finish off the season at Las Vegas, a team that you've lost to 7 straight times. The Broncos can afford to lose about 5 maximum of all of these games. I think there's going to be a 10-7 team at least in the AFC that doesn't make the playoffs this season. The Broncos are now 0-2, which means they have about a maximum of 5 more losses that they can afford, and they haven't played any of their tough opponents. Before their bye, the Broncos, they gotta beat some of these tough teams. First of all, they got to beat the teams that they're expected to beat. They got to go and beat the Bears. They got to beat the Jets at home, especially now that Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback. Last year, they lost to Zach Wilson and the Jets. This year, they need to win that game. They have to beat the Chiefs in at least 1 game. Please! And then they're playing the Packers at home. Once again, that team does not have Aaron Rodgers anymore. You need to beat that team. The Broncos need to beat teams that they're expected to beat. And so far in the season, they're 0-2 against those teams. When you have a tough schedule and you're losing to the poverty franchises before you even play the tough teams, you're not making it any easier on yourself. The only positive thing that I can say right now is the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers are also 0-2, 2 teams that I think are going to be playoff bound, or at least playoff potential teams in the AFC. The Broncos now probably got to have a better record than maybe one of those guys, but at least 2 or 3 of the tough teams. I think the AFC playoff race is going to be really tight. The Broncos now, they have no room to spare. It sets up a must-win Week 3 against the Miami Dolphins on the road. You can't start 0-3. You were 4 points away from starting 2-0. The Broncos just love to find new ways to lose. A game that they led by 18, they let the lead go all the way down. Now they trail by 11, and they score a field goal, get the ball back, convert a Hail Mary to get the Broncos' hopes right back up, and then shatter them into oblivion thanks to the refs. A blatant no-call pass interference on a 2-point conversion that seals the game and the fate for the Broncos and pretty much summarizes their season to this point. The Broncos obviously let this game get away from them. They played well for about 2 quarters, and then the second half was it was terrible. Now, Sean Payton is a proven known November and December coach. He has an amazing record in those months. He's a second half coach, second season coach, and we're going to need to see that for the Broncos if they have any hope at all. Because this Broncos team, they need to turn it up and beat these good teams, let alone these bad teams that they're already losing to. They now need to go and win tough games. The Dolphins game was a game where I thought that was probably the Broncos' first loss of the season. Now they need to win that game. Now the Broncos need to go into Miami and win. At the Chicago Bears, a must-win game. No more can you afford to lose to teams that you are expected to beat. The New York Jets, another team at home you're expected to beat now. You have to beat them. Then they'll play the Chiefs, a team they're expected to lose. Let's say they lost that. Then they play the Packers. Gotta beat the Packers. You're a better team, you're at home. Another game where you can't let it get away from you because it just takes a few of these games and then your season is done. And then you play other playoff teams such as the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, the Los Angeles Chargers twice, and the Detroit Lions and New England Patriots. And the Raiders, which you cannot beat, so we might as well just include them in that. The Broncos have a very uphill battle right now. It's not looking good, but this is where I feel comfortable, right? As a Bronco fan, being diminished of all self-love and hope, lied to about the problems that this team has being fixed when they just find new ways to lose the game. Broncos had more total yards, more passing yards, the same amount of rushing yards. Better on 4th down, better on 3rd down. They did lose the turnover battle this time, 2-0, in which obviously ends up being the difference. And you can blame the ref for not throwing the flag on the obvious pass interference. It was obvious. It was clearly a flag. But like I said, the Broncos should have never been in that situation. They were up 21-3. You should not be down by 11, attempting a Hail Mary, and then still needing a 2-point conversion to get back in the game. You blew one team out and then got blown out yourself, all in the span of 60 minutes. That's impressive. That's a new feat. Should the Bronco fans be worried? Yes, I think they should. I am. Obviously, they could turn it around. There's a lot of football left. There's 15 games left. They can win games. But they have not set themselves up at all to do so. They still clearly have problems, and now they have new problems. Defense was never really a problem. Defense not looking so hot anymore. Allowing 35 points to the Washington Custom Inc. Madden AI-generated relocation team. And now you got to go take on the Miami Dolphins. It's time to pray, Bronco fans. It's time to pray. The Denver Broncos losing to 2 poverty franchises right off the bat, now setting up a must-win Week 3 in Miami.